Big news came in yesterday. Big news, but not so big news. Let me just kind of jump right into where is it? We're just gonna jump right into the desktop. Skaboosh. All right, cool. Big news came in with this whole notion of the World of Warcraft Community Council. And I guess before I even get into it, I might as well just like roll the clip and then we'll go from there. In case anyone missed this. Thank you, AJ man. Thank you for the sub. But yeah, let's get to what the hell is this.
I'm Morgan, and I'm a lead game designer for World of Warcraft.
I'm Sarah, and I'm a senior level designer.
I'm Ian, game director for WoW.
I'm Tina, and I'm a lead environment artist.
I'm Pat, the production director for WoW.
And I'm Holly, the lead producer of WoW Classic.
We get a lot of feedback from players, and it's great. We watch and read as much feedback as we can.
Players telling us how they feel about the game leads directly to improvements that we make.
It's a lot of feedback.
Which is awesome.
But we really want to zero in on the most nuanced player comments and have conversations with you about specific issues.
And it's challenging to have a conversation with tens of thousands of people.
So we're kicking off something new.
Verified. WoW only has tens of thousands of people left playing the game. Just want to point that out.
And we're calling it the WoW Community Council.
We're going to invite at least 100 players to a new discussion forum.
All WoW players will be able to see this new forum and everything we discussed there.
For the members, we're looking for players who are passionate about any area of the game.
We're going to invite raiders, PvPers,
solo players, mythic dungeon lovers,
transmog collectors, WoW Classic enthusiasts,
role players, achievement hunters, and more.
We want to talk with every kind of WoW player.
And if they choose to, we'd like selected participants to join us in regular live chats.
So please, follow the link to apply for the WoW Community Council, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that excellent audio quality. The only person that has the good mic is Lore. Little trivia, so Josh Allen, aka Lore, he does the survival guides, the real survival guides. Okay, the alternative survival guides, wink, wink, wink. But then he was also he was also a former content creator and stuff too, so he's kind of used to that. So he probably already had the equipment. Oh, well. So let me read the rest of this, because we need to get a bit more of the context on this too. It's very important. Greetings, citizens of Azeroth. The World of Warcraft community is second to none with the passion, love, and excitement you all show to the game. Player feedback impacts all aspects of the game, and with such a wide range of options, playstyles, and interests out there, gathering and understanding feedback is more important than ever. To help further our efforts in this area, we're introducing the WoW Community Council. This program will add another venue for communication between players and WoW developers. Our goal is to gather more detailed feedback on all aspects of World of Warcraft from players around the world with a wide range of backgrounds and interests. Here's how it works. Submissions are open to any player interested in taking part of the program. Once players are selected, they'll be given the ability to post in a new discussion forum that is publicly visible to everyone. Very important. And this new forum will ask members to share their experiences and perspectives on anything in the game. And some topics may be started by Blizzard developers and community managers. Responses and updates from Blizzard will be posted there so they can be easily be discussed by the entire community. A private discussion will also be set up for council members to encourage direct interaction between members. Separate conversations between smaller groups of members and Blizzard developers will be encouraged to ensure players with differing perspectives are being heard. These can take the form of live chats between council members and WoW devs. One of the key goals with this program is to encourage discussion with players from a wide variety of different playstyles. To help ensure this, part of the application process will involve sharing your areas of interest and expertise, whether it's cutting-edge raiding, playing alts, completing achievements, accessibility, or collecting transmog. We want to know your perspective and ensure that you are heard. Therefore, After 1 year in the program, we plan to unflag council members and open the application again. All WoW players will be free to apply at that point. Please note, the program is focused on sharing current and past game experiences. It will not provide access to unannounced game information, and yada yada yada. So in a nutshell, I'm trying to recall this all off the top of my head. So in a nutshell, it's a forum. It's a forum, but it's curated to have like a certain split between different audiences. Whether you are like a hardcore raider or a PvPer or a dungeon person, if you're just like some dude that pops on like for a couple hours a week because you just don't have the time these days, even though you might have been playing a lot before. If you're big on pet battles or transmog, or if there are things that you would just love to have in the game, or if you're kind of a newer, heck, even for all I know, maybe if you're even a newer player, you might be sucked into this thing. A couple things that this is not, at least from what I'm seeing here. It is not a, how should I say it? Like, it's not like a branch of government where, we can demand things here. This is not, it's not exactly a seat at the table, if that makes any sense. This isn't where I could be like, okay, guys, where a person could be like, okay, let's band everyone together and then we'll all collectively sound off for player housing, and then it happens. It doesn't have that sort of transactional feel to it. The way I see it, it's also not something that is necessarily, oh yeah, we're just going to get content creators and something like that, because they have a pulse on the beating heart of the WoW community. They know what's up, and they can take all this information and then filter it over to the team, and then their perspective is going to be like the most valid. No, that's not what they're looking for at all. They're looking for very personal perspectives, and something that content creators, forum posters, that sort of thing, they're not very good at speaking for just them. They're more accustomed to speaking with the feeling of, okay, this is what everyone else is saying. This is what all my friends are saying, which is kind of important, which does hold some water. But oftentimes you see these forums that talk about, well, this is how the community feels, and that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for just how you feel from your point of view. But that said, you damn right I signed up for it. But you saw it on Twitter. Of course I signed up for it, because I feel like when, if I were to dive in there, there's a certain perspective that I come from that has nothing to do with being a content creator. I'm trying to remember what were I wonder how far can I get into this. Bob, and then Bob pound. I'm just trying to do some fake stuff so I can like get in there. See bob at gmail.com. Okay, cool. Region, whatever, next. Okay, so here is what I would say. This third page, this is the game. This is where probably people are going to be like really vetted. This is like the first filter, right? First filter where the team wants to kind of separate themselves, separate the communities into this. So like, okay, we're going to get like, 5 people from this group and 5 people from here, 5, something like that. They're just they want to split this as evenly as possible so they can get as many things as they can, including player fucking housing. So whatever you want. But I have a feeling that they're going to take these things and be like, okay, let's separate these. And hey, this guy wants to talk about player fucking housing. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and add that one in as well. And then there are other filters, whether you're casual, hardcore, cutting edge, and other such things. From there, because I'm sure they're going to get like a ton of applicants, there are going to, fine, whatever. One questions need to be complete. I didn't. I could have. Okay. Oh shucks. Can I just like put in a blank thing for now? Okay, cool. Finally, there's one more filter. Why do you want to be a part of the council program? And then I'm sure like whatever, based on whatever your answers are, that's going to filter things out. Also here, like, please share with us links to 3 contributions that you've made. And this could be anything. You know, they say your stream, website, guides, gallery, videos, forum post, feedback on game discussions, etc. It's not required. There's no asterisk there. You don't have to fill this out. So if you're not a content creator, it's not a big deal. If you are, it's something for the team to look at. Heck, it might be something that'll blacklist you. It'd be like, oh, you're that one girl. You're that one guy that just talks shit. It does nothing but WoW memes. So the fuck are you gonna contribute? And your previous answer was crap. Forget it. That could be it too. Question 11 got me thinking that they really only want content. I don't know. I don't buy it. Because if they did want content creators, then they wouldn't have this. They would just watch content. They would just have a couple dudes and dudettes just watch content creators all day, and that's it. So that provides nothing. And like I was saying before, content creators and certain forum posters, not all of them, right? Not all of them, because a lot of the times content creators, they come from a place of expertise. It'd be like, hey, I make videos on tanking. Not me, not these days. But, there are people that make videos on like, okay, here's like the top PvP things, or here's like, top 10 classes, or here's how to, or range, or like, here's like a hunter guide, because I'm a fucking pro at hunter shit. And that's what I want to bring to the table. So I think that's important. If you just happen to make videos on that too, whatever. But I would say like general purpose content creators, those who mostly provide opinions and things like that, who may not be like subject matter experts or SMEs. Like, for example, me, I'm not counting on being selected. I signed up, but I'm not counting on it. Because my expertise is limited. Like what did I fill in? I filled in raiding, tanking, a little bit of theory crafting, professions, guild officer and leader, and I added some stuff in, something about community and whatnot. And then in my later answers, I mentioned stuff about player housing. I mentioned stuff about like the world experience, a slice of WoW, that sort of stuff. And then I linked a couple of videos, plus the channel, plus the stream. There we go. But no, I don't buy for a second that this is all about just getting content creators, because they can easily they don't need to reach out for content creators. They could just be like, hey, content creators, what do you think? And then we'll chime in regardless. Okay. But the forum is designed to get a more curated sort of perspective. And there's some people that are very, very skeptic of this sort of program. Because of doubts. There's a long thread that I have over on Twitter from Magdalena DK, who I'm not sure what he or she did, but he or she was they were part of a secret forum that extended for a little while. That was meant to provide player feedback for certain parts of the game. I'm not sure what. But it sounds like it was for like higher level content, like Mythic Plus and other such things. And things just got sour, according to this person. Like, many of the most positive developments. Where is it? I had it. Okay, many of the most positive developments in both MOP and even the development stages of WoD were the result of this careful, thoughtful feedback that players on this forum provided. But then things changed, certain key people left, and then things got worse. The way I see it, though, and I don't see much. I can only make like all sorts of presumptions about how this thread went. I have a feeling that because one, it was private, and two, it probably pulled in mostly experts in their field, people with hardcore perspectives, or semi-casual hardcore perspectives that brought in a certain skew. According to the thread, the people there, they felt like they were being talked down, that they were being insulted by the developers. I doubt it. I doubt it was necessarily like that. I'm sure it was more like, oh, they were just given a big fat no, and they just didn't know how to handle it. That's just a really immature guess, I guess. But in this case, though, the big takeaways that have me going, huh, okay, is that one, that this is going to be public. Because this is going to be public, the participants are going to be limited, but the audience is it's like watching devs and these council people like in the arena. They're gonna go at it, not violently, probably. They're gonna go at it, but then everyone's gonna be watching and observing and commentating. Like, if I'm not a part of this thing, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it, and I'm gonna do things like highlight certain things that had happened in the thread. Oh, here's the latest thing that happened on this thread. Here was the discussion and how it went, and and all that, and that could be fun. That could be interesting, and I think it's cool because it puts a magnifying glass onto mostly the developers on how they respond, and hopefully, it'll be a space where they can feel like they can respond directly to the community, even though it's like curated. But in the meantime, everyone else can observe and make their own comments on that as well. There are some drawbacks, though. I saw a couple of people on Twitter and such saying, "Hey, dude, they better make this council like anonymous. We better not know who these council people are, because if we find out who they are, then those people are going to be put on blast like all the time whenever they put up a post that or reply to something that doesn't jive with a certain audience." And that's how it goes all the time. You can be the most well-meaning person with this really awesome thread, and you give like this great input and blah, 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 blah. But there's going to be a bunch of people that disagree with what you have to say anyway, whether it's the premise, whether it's a fine detail or whatnot, and then they're going to treat you like shit. They're probably going to harass you on social media and that sort of thing. And that would suck a lot for people that want to contribute to these discussions but can't necessarily handle what's going on there. Thankfully, though, when you sign up for this, you can choose like whatever the heck name you want. It was like the very, very first thing, I believe. Yeah. Let's see, back. So yeah, choose your name. No one would think that I'm Bob. No way. Me, though, I don't care. You can flame me all you want. You can give me all the negative attention or whatever. I said I refer to myself as Soul, because fuck it, I don't care. Not a big deal. I don't have that thick. My skin isn't that thick, but I make good use of my mute buttons. It's pretty hilarious. Sometimes I take a look every now and then at the people that I mute. I'm like, oh man, I'm glad that. Well, sorry that your reply didn't get to me. Let me get to the chats really quick. When HMN subscribed, he said, "Stream is just a good chill time. Thanks, Soul, and everyone else here." Oh, thank you, dude. You're a doll. When he says it's going to be short, it goes on for hours. Who knows? Yeah. I know I'm slow. What's up, Raps? Cashman says, "I have to join it. I'd be a great voice for us players on there." I'm not gonna go back on what I said though. Like, when I dive in, I'm gonna have a very specific perspective that I think that many of us share. That's why you guys keep watching, right? Something player housing, customization, yada yada yada. One shield in each hand for paladins. Come on, let's do it. But this is the way I see it. This isn't going to be a place where I can just make demands and be like, all right, guys, who's with me? Because no one's going to be with me on it. Everyone's going to have their different perspective. I have a feeling that more often than not, we're not, maybe after a certain vetting period, there's going to be mostly topics where this council is going to be splintered in different directions, and that's where we, on the outside, I think that's where we're going to see, okay, this is a bit more complicated than it looks, because we have these people who, all of us are playing the game, all of us are throwing down them $15 a month, or someone else's $15 a month to play this game, and it gives us an idea of just how complicated it can be for a developer to be like, okay, so we're going to design it this way. How do we piss off the fewest people as possible? But I think I hope that this forum will also create this shared understanding between council members and the audience who's watching, that, maybe there are some features that we should just kind of let it have this life of its own, without us having to be like, no, it needs to be like something for, the mythic rating needs to be for me too. That, I don't think that necessarily has to be the case, and I think this is a good place to have those sorts of discussions where the people are handpicked, and we're less likely to get into like shouting matches and things like that. But it should be interesting. As an HR manager, I am 3 seconds into this, and I already see how this will all go horribly, hilariously wrong. Well, chime in. I want to hear what you have to say about it. If Saul gets in the community, we'll have housing in the next expansion. Sinho on Turtle will join just to push Troll Beards through. Let's see. I'm also really prone to reading way too deeply between the lines sometimes. So yes, I hope I'm wrong, but analytical me says otherwise. Lol. That's a tough one, because it's easy. It's really easy to get cynical about something like this. It's like, oh, what good is that going to do? So that's why I wanted to lead off with, with this other thread that just did not work out. And in my opinion, this is not based on things that I know. I'm just kind of guessing here. I have a feeling that this old private thread was both, it was private, but also it brought in not the wrong people, but it didn't bring in enough of everybody. And so when you have like these subject matter experts, or like these WoW pros that are trying to talk up what's good, but then the developers are saying something else like entirely, it makes these folks feel bad, but it's probably because the developers, they're trying to share other people's perspectives who are not on that forum. So hopefully this forum will bring in mostly like the right people, but I guess more, not even the right people, but just mostly like all these different facets and all these different perspectives. I think that would be super useful. If you get in, tell them they have 2 patches to fix the robes. Yeah, that's gonna work out well. Hi, Betty. They know who Bob is at the first mention of player housing. That's my fear as well. I feel like this can turn into a huge round of harass the non-believer. And that's tough. And that's why, again, that's why that first thing was, you can choose your name. You can be anonymous if you want to. It's entirely up to that person. And that person doesn't necessarily, assuming that. So let's try to play it out. Let's say this forum is up and running, it's doing its thing, and Bob likes to share certain perspectives on the game. He's like, okay, this is how I feel about this subject. Here's my perspective coming from like a super casual 5-hour-a-week player, something like that. I have these cool, I have these ideas. These are my thoughts, and so on and so forth. And let's say people don't like what Bob has to say. Oh no. But Bob doesn't have to listen to fucking anyone because he's insulated from all that stuff. No one knows who he is. No one can find him on social media unless he wants to be found. So it's entirely up to the individual. And if they don't want to be harassed, then they have that initial barrier, like right then and there. You signed up with your main's name. Whoops. but here's the thing, like, it's up to the WoW team to bring in that perspective. Like, if you're people are gonna bitch about other people anyway, because someone on the outside is gonna be like, why are you listening to that person? They're just a fucking casual. They have no say in like what this subject is. Well, you know what? That's why you're not in this council thing, because clearly, one, that's not the kind of person that we're looking for. But two, to kind of walk this back as well, this is not a forum where we can just make demands. Ooh, that was loud. This isn't a forum where we can make demands or make suggestions and expect them to be implemented. That is not what this is for. I see this more like a... So here is my plan of sorts. If I get into this thing, I'm probably going to create like some semi-long thread, or I'll segment this or whatever. If we're able to immediately just start posting stuff, I'll probably post like a long thing that talks about the player experience out in the world, and I'll share it for myself. And the main bullet points that I'm going to have are that, hey, I love that I can put myself out into the world. I love that I can customize my character, with talents and gear and other such things. I feel like I can't do that as well as in other games. However, I feel like I also feel very separated from the world as well, because my interactions there, or at least my immersion, isn't, it's there in the combat, but it's not quite there outside of combat. Thank you, by the way, for subscribing, Rebemma. Much love. And what's up to you, Peter? So I want to come from the angle of, I want to feel like I can walk into the world and then NPCs or the world will recognize me in for who I am and what I've done, and be like, hey, because that would, those little things mean a lot to me. It could be as simple as, walking through Orgrimmar, and then somewhere in Orgrimmar, or like a town, some town or outpost or whatnot, and there's like a stable or a hitching post, and then you see a couple mounts. But the thing is, those aren't just any mounts. Those are my mounts. Those are mounts that I've earned, and they just happen to like be there hanging out. And I can go to those mounts and I can click on them and I'll instantly mount up, and I'll have 15% increased run or flight speed for the next like 2 or 3 minutes or something like that. So I can get to the place where I want to go. Those little things like those would mean like a lot. Or even smaller things, people, going through town and a guard would be like, hey, what's up? And then they refer to like some title, some random allotment of titles. Maybe not all of them, because some of the titles are kind of funny, They're like, hey, what's up, Salty? I'm like, Salty? Fuck, you got a problem with me? Call me Ambassador, call me Hero Champion of Azeroth, call me whatever. Little things like that help out a ton. And then, of course, then I'll want to go like all in with a very high, very broad scope things like player housing, better transmog, things like that. But I have a feeling that I don't think they gave a timeline as for when they're going to actually start this council. My hope is that it'll be up and running and ready to go for 9.2. So that's a pulling out of my ass prediction. But my hopes are that by the time the 9.2 PTR is up and running, they'll have selected people, and they got everything up and running. So that way we can start giving feedback. And my expectation is that the feedback that comes from it will not be no, just no, when we see like whatever new feature or whatever new thing that's coming, because it's already going to be way too late for that. We've seen how slow Blizzard can respond and pivot to certain things, and so I don't have that expectation of being able to move and switch and change things. But as for like changing course a little bit, though, that's where we can kind of get things started. One, we can give feedback on 9.2, whatever that is, but also we can talk on these broader topics and get more conversations started that could possibly influence the developers, or have direct conversations with them about, hey, we think this and this and this. And then many of us who come from these different perspectives can maybe collectively say, nah, let's do it like this. Or conflicting perspectives can be like, okay, where's that middle where everyone's like a little bit happy? That would be something that people can appreciate. With how much Blizzard has parodied that we're listening, a lot of the feedback has been the same the whole time. I don't know how anyone can see this as impacting the game. As it stands right now, Ian did not state we're getting 9.2 when asked. No, he was pretty clear that there's going to be a 9.2. In the interview from Venture Beats, something Venture Beats. Okay, here we go. So, Hazakas says, we'll be talking a bit more about the conclusions of Shadowlands in more detail in the future. Yes, 9.2 is coming. You'll be hearing more about that soon. We do have more planned for that. Yada 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 yada. So yeah, ta-da! There's a 9.2. As for the rest of what you were saying, AJ, it's important to make clear that they're listening, but they don't necessarily respond to everything, and they're not just going to be like, oh, a lot of people are saying this, let's do it. Unfortunately, that's not how that hasn't been how it works, and that's not what I expect this to be. I want to make that really clear. This is not going to be a platform where we can just hammer the developers into like doing things. So if that's your expectation, you will be disappointed. This is for getting feedback and perspectives to kind of steer them in that direction. This is not a place where these council members will be like, all right, guys, I'm gonna whip some votes together, and I'm gonna get everybody to think the same way I do, and then we'll hammer this thing over at the WoW Dev team and get everyone in, to our way of thinking. I'm sure that attempts will be made, but I don't think that's the purpose for this forum. It's not here to shout down other people's opinions. It's supposed to be like kind of a safer place for people to share it. But more importantly, and I don't want to understate this at all, the onus here is on Blizzard to also participate in this forum on a pretty regular basis, I think. Having live conversations, back and forth conversations, that those are kind of the things that they said these may take the form of live chats between council members and WoW devs. And that'd be cool if we can have something like that. So that way we can get a bit, we can understand what I guess the important thing is that we can understand what developers' mindsets are when it comes to these sorts of things, when it comes to certain design decisions and things like that, and why they may not agree with something that we'd suggest because someone else here may have something else to share. That's important. And I may not have any clue. I may have no understanding of it and be like, oh, okay. Breezy says, I already know what I would talk about if I was chosen. Level and questing experience, boss length, because I absolutely hated Sylvanas fight in this patch, and faction dissolution. And maybe some things about guild management and stuff. So, real quick, yesterday there was a VentureBeat interview with Ian Hazakas, and I read the entire thing out on a video. I have no idea how the comments went on that one. But part of it was another dropped little tidbit about the faction divide. And in this case, he used the term cross-faction. Or at least that was the term that was used during the interview. Now, I see cross-faction as being half-assed. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when they're talking about cross-faction, they're talking about, okay, out in the open world, the hostilities are still there. However, for the sake of grouping, when it comes to Group Finder, when it comes to Dungeon Finder, PvP, and stuff like that, they will break the immersion and then just let people play together anyway. To be honest, I see that as half-assed, because if you can cross-faction in instances, but not in like guilds and communities, that creates that kind of dehumanizes the other faction. So like like in my guild, if I needed like a couple of healers or whatnot, and the healers that I see happen to be Alliance, it's like cool. I can seek them out, but that's the only method that I'd be able to communicate with these people is through the group finder, and then when they actually join the group, and then we can start talking, and that feels half-assed to me. If they're going to do some sort of cross-faction thing when it comes to PvE and world content, fuck that, go all the way. Because going all the way is very jarring, absolutely, but it also allows the team to go all the way with lifting the divide. So you can guild together, you can group together out in the world, you can be part of, you can have bigger communities, WoW communities and all that stuff. So that's kind of what I'm getting at with that. But going back to what you were talking about, Breezy, I feel like it's coming. It's just a matter of when. It could come in 9.3 for all we know, if there's going to be a 9.3. It'd be a good way to kind of lead in to the new expansion. Kind of like how 735 did the level scaling thing, and that was like kind of a big deal. Lifting the divide in 9.3 or something like that, that could be fucking nuts. It might be like pretty cool. Jalzan says we have to get a 9.2. Call me the Slayer of Idiots. Let's see. Okay, so AJ Man, you linked it. Yay. Dun, dun, dun. He wouldn't say a 9.3, but more story was coming after 9.2. It was based on a typo? Damn you, AJ Man. You had me rant for like a good 2 or 3 minutes. I forgive you though. It's totally all right. Used to work in game. So AJ used to work in games. I know how developer timelines can change and how your games community will want the moon. And all you can give them is a catch-up packet. The cheapest thing a studio can do is to communicate. Blizzard says that they hear, but they don't communicate what they're hearing and why certain wants from the community aren't happening. I think the double-edged sword when Blizzard says, hey, this is what we've been hearing, is that there is so much to hear that if Blizzard were to say, so we've been listening to this kind of feedback, it tells the person that, one, they've been listening to this feedback, but also they are not listening to all this other feedback. And so those other people, they're going to feel like their voices aren't being heard. They're going to get angry and upset because of some flubbed word that Blizzard said. Skipgate is like, I just call it Skipgate. It's not going to take off, but I just call it Skipgate. Like the whole thing about the Covenant campaign skip, like how a few flubbed words can create all these different expectations. But they should communicate better. Absolutely. They fucked up. Don't get me wrong. You did the thing. You threw your name in the hat. Great. I think everyone should throw their name in the hat. If anything else, if they feel like they've got something to say, and if they feel like they can put, a year to casually dive into these forums and give their 2 cents on things, I say that's the only real requirement to sign it up. Everything else will be like filtered out. So if there's like a lot of people that are coming through, with this certain perspective, then there's only so many people that they're going to take. And I don't believe that there's much of anything that makes you like super special. Yeah. I honestly don't think that. So, like I said, I'm not counting on getting in on there. But I'll definitely like report on stuff and observe. Alliance is dying and Horde has a DPS shortage. Oh yeah, I can see the divide happening. The divide going away. Plot-wise, there would still be animosity between some faction groups, such as between Worgen and Forsaken. So something that I've talked about a lot with regards to the faction, to dissolving the faction divide, is that it has nothing, zero to do with the actual factions. So Horde and Alliance, they can still hate each other. Worgen versus Undead, they as races can still hate each other. Yada yada yada. What lifting the faction divide does, and maybe I'm not even using the right wording. Maybe it should be me saying the champions of Azeroth elevate themselves beyond the faction divide, so that Worgen and a Worgen champion and a Forsaken champion, they know there's beef, right? They know there's beef. There's probably some bad blood, but they understand the big bad that's in front of them. And they understand that they're fighting under a different banner right now, whether it's the class orders, the armies of Legion Fall, Cenarian Circle, Earthen Ring, or any of those other things that we've been allying ourselves. Like, there aren't very many times where we actually participate as someone of the Horde or Alliance, except for like open world PvP or whatever. Because oftentimes, what are we doing? We're repping up with some other faction that both the Horde and Alliance players are fighting under. So it's just making, it's just making the obvious real.